Hey everyone, welcome to AskReddit. This channel is created for all you Reddit lovers. If you like Reddit stories, this is the place where you'll find the best posts and comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss an episode. This story is called Most Awkward Twin Stories. I'm dating a twin. To me, they look completely different, and I know mine is the one with the attractively shaped head. However, maybe once or twice in the past I got mixed up. The worst time happened in the school library freshman year of college. I had been dating my guy, who we'll call Brent, for 4 months. His identical twin, Ron, had been dating this girl, Sarah, for just a couple weeks. I'm walking into the library to meet Brent for dinner when I run into Sarah. We say hi, have a chat, and just as she's turning to leave, she mentions that she saw my guy in the second floor computer labs. So I head up the stairs and see Brent sitting at one of the computers. When all of a sudden I'm hit with a revelation. Brent is not nearly as good looking as I remembered. I get a bit of a sinking feeling, and as I get closer, my fears are confirmed. I'm no longer attracted to Brent. His skin seems more olive in hue, his haircut is strange, and his head is oddly asymmetric. 4 months is a long time, and I figure the fire had died in me since I saw him last. But whatever. I tell myself to suck it up. Brent is a great guy, and I shouldn't be so shallow. Looks aren't everything, right? Brent sees me and I give him a little wave, and he kind of just stares back at me. Weird. I pull up a chair and start talking with him about his day, being all friendly and girlfriend-like. But Brent is giving me nothing in return. All of his answers are short, and he seems almost confused by our interaction. He also doesn't seem to remember that I had a big test that day that I'd been stressing about all month, because he didn't even ask how it went. I start to get a little upset. Sure, I can handle dating a guy with a potato head, but not a guy who can't engage with me socially. I figure maybe he's having a bad day. So I ask if he wants to go for a walk around the library. He says, I guess, but that's kind of weird. At that response, I think, what the F, Brent? We've been dating 4 months, and this is not a weird thing to do together. I decide I need a second to collect myself, because his behavior is really off-putting. I tell him I'm going to return a book on the first floor. And so I do what any girlfriend would do when she's about to leave. I put my hand on his knee and lean in for a kiss. Brent's eyes go big and he starts slowly leaning away from me. I stop and have a second horrible revelation. In high school, I dated a guy who happened to be gay. He didn't really know it yet, but I figured it out when I went to kiss him and he leaned away from me. Just like Brent did. Oh God. I am very flustered at this point, so I get up and immediately head downstairs. This is all too much for me. In 10 minutes, I went from dating a great man to having to break up with a socially awkward, potentially gay man with a misshapen head. I am lamenting my terrible position when I see Ron sitting in a chair on the first floor. He's reclining with a book in his hand, leisurely leaning back and stretching out his long legs. A whispered thought crossed my mind. Ron looks really good today. I shake it off and decide to talk with him. Ron sees me and enthusiastically says hello. Now, I don't remember exactly what happened next, but we started talking. I remember thinking how much easier it was to talk with Ron and wondering why Brent wasn't like that. At some point I mentioned that Brent is on the second floor. Ron suddenly looks confused. He stops and says, "But I'm Brent." I look at him and laugh. I think, how can that possibly be? Wait, oh my God. That's when I have my third horrible revelation. I swear what happened next was like a special effect in a movie. Ron's face almost transforms in front of me. His cheekbones come into clearer focus, his eyes become rounder, peachiness returns to his cheeks. I realize that this Ron was actually my Brent, and that Sarah had mistakenly told me that my guy was on the second floor. I started laughing because I couldn't believe what just happened. I told Brent all about the strange conversation I had with Ron when I suddenly remembered that I had tried to kiss him. Oops. I got up and ran to the second floor to see Ron. He was standing in the computer lab, bag in hand, ready to go on the most uncomfortable walk with his brother's crazy girlfriend. Ron looked a little nervous and he said that he was willing to go on a walk with, but that he'd prefer to stay in the school's library. Presumably because there are many people who could help him if I tried any more moves. I laughed and said, "I have a boyfriend," and left. If you're enjoying today's episode of Reddit Stories, show your love by subscribing to this channel. Me and my brother are one of those extremely twinny twins, where it's absolutely impossible to tell us apart. So last month, I noticed I had quite a few vacation days piling up. Having not seen my brother in a couple of months, since his wedding in December, I decided to fly out to Chicago where he was a junior partner at a pretty high-end law firm. I called him and he was absolutely thrilled and said he could also take some time off work, as he and Michelle, his wife, were also talking about needing a getaway. We decided on going to Starved Rock State Park to enjoy a couple of days of hiking, canoeing, and spas, and just in general catching up and having a good time. I flew out to Chicago and we made the 3-hour drive from the city the same day. We checked into a wonderful lodge 15 minutes away from the park, and 3 days went by in a blur of activities and exploring during the day and catching up with over a few drinks. So on our last night there, the three of us were at this cozy little bar near our hotel. It was a quiet little bar and only one other booth was occupied by an older man minding his own business. I was sitting beside my brother, Michelle across from us. This is important for later. After having way too many drinks, all three of us were pretty drunk and the conversation started to simmer down a bit. All of a sudden, I feel my shin get kicked. I looked across and Michelle was sipping a drink while making a somewhat suggestive glance towards me. Being absolutely sloshed, I didn't register that at all and thought that was just an accident. I downed the last of my drink and see my brother completely transfixed in his phone and decided that we should call it a night. I got up and headed towards the restroom to empty the tank before making our way out. Walked in, went up to the urinal, and before I could unzip, I hear the door close and the sound of it being locked. I turned around and see Michelle stumbling to take off her pants. Blitzed to heck on Whiskey Neats, I just looked at her as she took off her pants and said, "Mike, that's me," passed out in the booth, "so we can take all the time we want." She then walked over to me and started making out furiously with me. Drunk me still couldn't process what the heck was going on. Believe me when I say she nearly sucked my tongue out as she put her hands into my already unzipped pants and grabbed little me. I came to my senses instantly and pushed her off and had just realized the full extent of what the heck happened. She was taken aback and just said, "Do you really want to wait till we get back to our room?" "I'm not Mark, I'm Mike," I sputtered out. I kid you all not, she went as white as the tiles of the restroom walls. She backed off, pulling up her pants. I thought you were Mark," she said with a gasp. "No," I said. She put her pants back on and walked out like an absolute zombie. I, in my drunken stupor, just splashed water onto my face, thinking about how to deal with what just happened. We walked back to the booth and find Mark still glued to his phone and Michelle sitting upright and rigid beside him. I sat down across them. Michelle finally made eye contact and I just nodded with a sorry look at my face. Fake coughed. Mark looked up at me. "Bro, I'm really sorry because of what I'm about to tell you, but I won't be able to live with myself if I don't tell you." I paused and looked at Michelle, who chimed in. I swear, even though how stupid it may seem, this is exactly how it happened. I took a deep breath and told the whole story. The entire time, Mark listened with a confused look on his face, and after remaining silent throughout the entire explanation and barrage of apologizing, he burst out laughing. Apparently this was so hilarious to this son of a biscuit, he started ripping on us about how awkward it must be for us and how this thing will linger in our heads for the rest of our lives every single time we see each other. And he said he can't wait for tomorrow as he wants to see the tension between us when we're sober over breakfast and the 3-hour drive back to Chicago. That is by far the most awkward twin story I have, and I don't think I'll ever see my brother again because I can absolutely never be in the same room as Michelle ever again. Thanks again for watching today's episode of Reddit Stories. Leave a comment and tell me what you think about this video. Share your story, and if you want to see more of this, please like and subscribe to my channel.